An ominous figure controls your body from the shadows and pulls on your strings like a puppet, while you stand there helpless, trying your best to regain control. This looming figure is called disassociation and would become the tormentor of my life. Imagine you're playing some Grand Theft Auto, but instead of controlling the character, you are the character. You feel like you're being controlled by someone else while you're on autopilot doing whatever the player wants. So if I hit someone in the street, it actually wasn't me, it was the person controlling me, but the police don't seem to care. Disassociation feels very similar to dreaming or being asleep. I can forget that I'm a living human being and gasp when I'm aware that I am a human and I'm not sure where I am or where I was. I can arrive downstairs with no recollection of getting up or what I was even doing before. I just arrive in the kitchen because my body told me to. You feel like someone locked inside of your own body rather than just your own being, stuck inside of your carapace with no hope of getting out. The time disassociation was the worst for me was only a few weeks ago, when I was moving back in with my mom after graduating. One thing life never tells you is how hard it is to change from this mundane school lifestyle to a lifestyle where you need to make your own path. The stress combined with the withdrawal of getting off an old medication would introduce me to the deep depths of disassociation. My days would wake up with my body screaming from foreign sensations invading my mind. The morning would leave me frozen in bed, questioning how I could bear these sensations for any longer, following with a midday recess where I could attempt to catch a brief respite from these symptoms, and attempt to be a functioning human. Only for the sensations to come roaring back at night, my body unable to fall asleep due to the dread of the next day. One morning, I woke up to the sensation of my dog scratching me and hoped to be let outside to take his morning leak. I remember appearing outside with a dense haze in my mind as I half-consciously reflected on what the hell was going on. I was gazing into the yard, trying to process what was going on inside my brain. I wasn't present, nor was I asleep. I just felt like a husk being controlled by an unknown being, with each movement feeling like it needed to be submitted before it would actually be processed. While these sensations are very strange and may be of no concern to some, I have the privilege of overthinking these feelings to be something harmful. My agoraphobia and panic disorder would cause me to fear these sensations to the point of assuming that they would never go away. This would cause exacerbated symptoms, where I was a prisoner in my own mind with the sensations of being on my way to death row. I would fear that these symptoms and sensations would lead to my consciousness fading away and never to be felt again, or that I would lose grip of reality as a whole. So how do you get to this point? Based on my own experience, this is caused by a moderate period of intense anxiety. This anxiety can leave our brain scrambling, not knowing where to run or what to fight, so the only option it has is to hide within itself. It pulls back our perception in an attempt to shield us from what's going on and hopes to dampen these unwanted sensations or symptoms. This isn't a sudden shift, but rather like a storm slowly starting to cloud the sky. I like to think of our brain in this situation as a turtle. When a turtle feels like it can't run away or fight from whatever's attacking them, the turtle hides in its shell. To be honest, I don't really know what turtles do, but I think that's right. But our brain hides in its own shell to protect us or itself from whatever we may be fearing. It's not until our brain realizes that this threat is just some nasty anxiety and will pass that we can slowly start to emerge from our shell and return to our previous state of being. Good news is it does get better. With a decrease in anxiety, or at least a stabilization to this new sensation or fear, you will start to return to normal. In the moment, you're constantly fearing that it won't go away or that it'll last forever, but it will pass. In my experience, I had about 2 weeks of notable sensations before it started to really simmer down. It's really easy for me to reflect now, but I can't explain how difficult it was for me in that moment. Every fiber of your body is fearing that these feelings are here to stay, and you question how long you could go on living like this. I would go to sleep begging that it would lessen in the morning, only to wake up to disappointment. Only when you stop focusing on the sensation will it start to dissipate. You really got to try your best to take it one day at a time, one moment at a time, or 1 second at a time, and try your best to write it out because it will get better, even if you don't believe so. My recovery started to expedite as I got accustomed to my new environment and after some time passed. I can't stress how much I was convinced I wouldn't get better, but I did. I won't lie, I definitely still have some fogginess left in my noggin, but it's very manageable at this point. I like to think of my old disassociation as a forest fire, untamed and seemingly endless, but over time it transformed into a little trick candle. The flame is very small, very manageable, but I haven't been able to blow it out completely. But the good news is I have learned to adapt and not let it hinder me. Meditation and consciously facing the fear through relaxation techniques helped me to calm down my body and reduce my resistance to these disassociation symptoms. It was really challenging, but allowed me to confront and gradually dampen my fear. The brain has a way of clouding rough times in a recollection, perhaps as a defense mechanism, but this may be why I struggle to remember certain details. Nevertheless, I'm sharing my story to give my past self the acknowledgement he deserves for enduring these hardships and prove to myself that these sensations wouldn't last forever.